Hello, I'm Mike. I'm an ex-Hells Angel member. I was a member and started the Fresno charter, and I transferred to Santa Barbara to start them up, and then I transferred back to Fresno, and that's where I left in 2011. I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Mike Lynch.
And
you're on a run.
And these guys are it was like a 35-year anniversary, something real major.
Yeah.
So I don't care if you get frostbite, motherfucker, stand there. You live here, you should know. I was stationed up there, so I knew just how to do cold weather. I told Hank we was set, and these motherfuckers, so I say, so yeah, I had another, the most eye-awakening situation. We were at one of our monthly meetings, and we had a charter that wanted to start up in Vegas. And we already had a couple charters, with Charlie and all them guys in Nevada. There was guys in Nevada. And then these guys come up and they said, well, we're going to be in whatever. So a very prominent member of our club jumped on his motorcycle and went into Vegas. And the closest guy to Vegas was 2 hours away. So this member called him up, said, I'm here. I just want to check you guys out, see what's up, see what you got going. And, oh, well, man, it's going to take me 2-3 hours to get there because I live in. He goes, wait a minute. Who in the is in Las Vegas? Right? Well, pretty much everybody lives. Anyway, they called these particular individuals in. This particular individual asked them, well, I went there, and I want to know where all y'all was. Because let's say, hypothetically speaking, I needed help, or I needed this, or I was broke down, or I had whatever happening. 5 minutes, yeah. 10 minutes, okay. But in a complete different zip code and area code, okay, well, all I know is some people came out that door. They didn't look too good. And then the boss of the room came out and snatched them up to them get back inside. And that was the last these guys, they went home with nothing, right? So I'm sitting there and, we're getting close. So I don't know what's going on. I'm watching all my P's and Q's. So I go inside and we all stand there in my charter and I'm getting ready to do my thing. And I look down and, there's a puddle of a certain liquid substance that was red, was a pretty good pool, right? And I look down at my shoes and I'm wading in the right?
Yeah.
So the first word out of somebody's mouth is dead serious. It says, Mike, you live in Fresno, don't you? And I said, born and raised, every one of us here, we run Fresno. You guys should know that because when you guys come into town, we got it going on. He goes, I just thought I'd say that in front of God and everybody. You live in Fresno, right? You run Fresno, right? And I said, yes, we do. Okay. And that was that. And I told the guys, look down. Tell me that isn't a reminder. Tell a lie, see what happens.
So he basically lied and said he lived in this area, but he didn't.
The charter. They're going to build a charter here, right? And this, you'd always got one guy or two guys in the charter that on the streets you might be able to hold your own amongst the citizens and amongst the minions in the motorcycle world there. But now that you stepped into this, there's no room. You couldn't slide a fucking credit card in the room that you got. You know what I mean? In other words, don't even bother. Just get your ass kicked and tell the truth. Right? But it was embarrassing. And plus that woke up everybody in the room as to, you better pay attention to these guys and what they're saying, because we were efficient. I mean, 5 years, 11 months, 11 days, every month that report was there. Financial reports, anything to do, it was all printed out. I had however many charters was in California then, or the West Coast. They all had copies. I don't want to sit here and tell the story 50 times. So I would make up the expense report. I would make up this. I would do that and this and that. And I would make up one for every charter. And then each guy could just sit there as a representative and go over it and read it as we go. Because like we're doing here, eventually you get tired of talking and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, this is a subject matter that was, it was dear to me. It still is, I wish things would have been different, but my life is like 1000% opposite than what it was. I don't get upset. I don't get things. I don't bark all the time. When I was doing that, I barked, bark. It's like a dog on a chain, because I wanted everything efficient. When things didn't work right, you make us look bad, you idiots. Get off your ass and be who you're supposed to be. In other words, earn this motherfucker. And a lot of guys weren't in the same mode. I'm sure I was overdriven. I was over.
It's good to be like that.
Well, in my case, I thought it was, but that was me personally. Now, a lot of other guys were chill and they ran everything with an iron fist and they got away with it. They did well. And I just couldn't grasp that. I want to put a foot in your ass or something, but And then, like I said, I talked to Charlie. He goes, hey, out of all this, and being mad, nah, because ain't nobody got a pot to piss in. None of them motherfuckers stand in front of me right now. And the same way I feel. But, our integrity, our honor, and all the shit that I have tattooed on my chest, loyalty, strength, and honor. Okay, that's what we're about. You took that from me. And you took it from me under pretenses that didn't occur. They were, I would say, 90% made up by a group of individuals that wanted me out of the way.
Yeah.
Just like Pee-wee, I mean, come on, the guy, where don't you see him? He bodyguards to the movie stars. He truck drives for the movie company. So he's always on these sets. He's meeting good people, which is good for us, and he's laughing, joking, and they love him. And therefore they love Hell's Angels.
Yeah.
That's how this works. So if we're good at what we do, people will love us, and we don't even meet these yet, and they took that from us. They made me look like, for a guy that was born and raised, I did 4 years in the military. I got out. I did this. I stuck to my guns when I was prospect. I did all the things that were expected of me. And in 1 second, you kicked me in the face. You threw dog shit on me, kicked me underneath the bus. You did all you could to make me not want to ever even think about them. Nothing but hate. And it took me a while. It's just like when I first talked to Mooch the first time. I told him, brother, I'm going to tell you right now. I never in a million years thought that I would get on the phone, call you up, and I was seeing his podcast, and I was always complimenting him about his delivery, his education, his knowledge, not just, hey, man, not he didn't talk like that.
Yeah.
He talks, when he talked, I listened. So I had to tell him so, and I said, man, bro, I just never thought that this would ever in a million years that we would be having a friendly chat.
Never.
And still to this very day, I have about 45 minutes from me in Spokane. There's an ex-pagan there. He has a tattoo shop. You probably know him anyway.
Yeah, popcorn, right?
I don't know his nickname. John, is that his name?
Yeah, John with the tattoos on his face.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I moved up here, I made it a point, like Rick and I were friends in Spokane, but I'm no longer a member. But I wanted people to know that I was here. I wasn't going to kind of creep in and say blah, blah, blah. So I knew people that knew everybody. So I said, do me a favor. I want you to tell every one of them guys that I'm here. There's no issues, no trouble, no nothing. I'm doing it for my health and my peace of mind. So just tell them I'm here. Got any problems? Call me up. I'll be there in 2 seconds. Then I end up meeting other ex-members. I met that guy, John, and, there's more things going on. And I can finally have a conversation with somebody that I'm not thinking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel, man, to get that kind of relief about maybe I shouldn't hate somebody that doesn't deserve my hate. When I talked to Mooch, it was gone. I mean, within seconds, it was gone.